Hi, I'm Amanda Vincent, and this is my student choice speech on juvenile offenders or juvenile delinquency. Juvenile delinquency or offending is when a minor participates in a crime or illegal behavior. A delinquent in most states is a youth under the age of 18 that commits an act that would be a punishable crime for an adult. Although even if the youth is under 18, in some circumstances they can be tried as an adult. According to Wikipedia, the age most associated with juvenile crimes has lowered drastically, and 60 to 80% of juveniles participate in delinquent acts. These crimes can range from status offenses, which is an act that would not be a crime for an adult, an example, truancy, but can go as far as violent crimes. Wikipedia states that the rate of crime in juveniles has become so high it should raise concern, but is usually viewed as teenage behavior. In most cases, teens commit non-violent crimes only during adolescent years and then just grow out of it. It is concerning if they become repeat offenders and it goes beyond being a teenager. In this case, their crimes tend to become more serious or even violent. In this case, they most likely displayed violent or antisocial behavior before they even reached adolescent age. Most types of juvenile offenses are dealt with by the juvenile courts, such as status offenses and delinquency, but criminal behavior and crimes committed by minors is dealt with by the criminal justice system. According to developmental research, there are two types of offenders that become apparent in adolescence. A career offender who continues to commit crimes and shows signs of antisocial and aggressive behavior in childhood and continues into adult years. And then there is an adolescent offender where their crimes begin and end during teen years. Juvenile offenders are more commonly male than female. Studies suggest that masculinity is a factor that may cause males to be more likely to offend. Young men are more likely to be aggressive and daring to prove they are men, and acting out these thoughts tend to result in criminal or delinquent behavior. It is also said that male youth could be more likely to offend because they are treated differently based on their gender, and they may in return act out against these treatments. Young men are naturally more aggressive and tend to be more daring risk takers. A study done by Florida State University criminologist Kevin M. Beaver shows that adolescent males carry a variation in a specific gene that tends to lead them towards other juvenile delinquents. This is the first study to show a statistical correlation between delinquent behavior and the particular variation of the dopamine transporter gene. Although in more recent years it has been found that the gap between male and female juvenile offenders has become smaller, it is still more common for males to offend than females, but the ratio of arrests by gender has decreased by 1/3 in the past 20 years. More than likely this is due to more female arrests for acts not commonly found before and a decrease in male offenders. The parenting style of juveniles is also taken into account when assessing juvenile offenders. How a parent interacts with their child can say a lot of how the child may act in the future, and also what they do around their child can make a difference. Another factor taken into account is who these juveniles spend their time with and what their friends do. A permissive parenting style is when a parent shows a lack of discipline, which is categorized as neglectful parenting, where the parent does not closely watch their child or know what their child is doing, and indulgent parenting, which is when a parent lets their child behave badly. There is also the authoritarian parent who puts out harsh punishment and does not explain or justify the discipline. Peer group association is when a juvenile has drifted toward a certain group of friends. This can also cause delinquency, particularly when this group is of antisocial nature. This cause is more common when the child has been left unsupervised, such as in the neglectful parenting style. Other factors that may cause a juvenile to become delinquent can be poverty, low socioeconomic status, poor school performance, being rejected by their peers, or even a medical condition like ADHD. There could also be biological factors, such as too much serotonin, causing a bad temper, a poor attitude towards themselves, and even a low heart rate, resulting in fearlessness. According to the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention website, juvenile arrest rates reached the highest ever in the last 2 decades, but declined by 43% in 2010. In 2010, there were 4,857 for every 100,000 youths from ages 10 to 17 in the United States. However, the overall juvenile arrest rates were 24% lower in 2010 than in 1980. Juvenile violent crime was at an all-time low in 2010 and has decreased by 55% since its peak in 1994. Violent crime increased in 2005 and 2006, but went down in 2010 to its lowest since 1980. The rate in 2010 was 24% below the 1980 and 55% below the peak in 1994. In 2010, there were 225 arrests for violent crime offenses for every 100,000 youth between age 10 and 17. Although unlikely, if each of these offenses were committed by different juveniles, then 1 in every 445 person ages 10 to 17 were arrested for a violent crime offense in 2010. Juvenile property crime reached its lowest since 1980 in 2010. The juvenile arrest rate for property crime offenses changed very little between 1980 and 1994. After being stable for years, the arrest rate declined in the mid-1990s and continued to do so every year, reaching a 54% decrease since 1988. The decline was followed by a 10% increase over the next few years and then declined again 15% since 2008. It was less common for juveniles to be arrested for property crime in 2010 than 30 years earlier. In 2010, there were 1,084 arrests in every 100,000 youths in the United States for property crimes. Simple assault arrests in juveniles have declined since 2004, going down 15% over that period. The arrest rate for simple assaults raised 176% between 1980 and 1997. Lowered through 2002, then raised again through 2004. After the decline in 2004, the 2010 rate was 19% below the 1997 peak. Unlike simple assault, the juvenile aggravated assault rate continues to decline since the mid-1990s, dropping 53% between 1994 and 2010. More of the assaults handled by law enforcement have been less serious offenses. In 1980, there were 2 simple assault arrests for every 1 aggravated assault. By 2010, the ratio went to 4 to 1, most of the increase happening after the mid-1990s. Just like adult offenders, there are programs for juvenile offenders to turn their lives around. And there is also ways to help prevent juveniles from offending in the first place. It is possible to direct a child from the wrong situations into the right path to get their lives in order, but choosing the right option is crucial. Some juveniles may respond to their parents' help and some may not. It may take the push of a professional to get them where they need to be. According to Peter Greenwood, researchers have found numerous prevention programs and many other programs that look promising but are still being tested. The most successful programs are the ones that try to stop delinquency before it even begins. School-based programs can be successful in preventing drug use, delinquent behavior, and poor academic performance. Community-based programs have also proved to be successful and can help redirect first-time offenders from having to come into contact with the justice system again. Community programs are successful because they bring to light the importance of family interaction and support. They can also teach juveniles responsibility and give them skills to use in the future. Also, sometimes getting to know members of the community they live in may help deter them from committing any crimes against these people. because getting to know them will form a respectful bond between them and the juveniles. In conclusion, juvenile offenders have risen and declined in the recent years, but with the proper methods and actions, as we as community members could try to help keep them at bay. Most juvenile offenders are wanting attention of some sort or are acting out against their parents. Every parent is different, as is every child. And just because one parenting style works on one child does not mean it will on the next. But if more parents were able to read their children and more schools made juveniles feel secure to talk about things, delinquency would probably lower even more drastically than it has in the past. I hope this has informed you a little bit more on the epidemic of juvenile offenders and hopefully inspired you to help out in your community. Thank you.